My child, stop scrolling for a moment. Just stop. I know your thumb was moving. I know the noise was filling the space. I know you weren't really looking for anything. You were just trying to outrun the weight that showed up again today. The weight that sleeps in your chest and wakes up before you do. The weight that asks questions with no answers. You didn't click on this. Not really. You were pulled because something inside you knows, has always known, that the noise was never going to save you. The notifications were never going to fill the silence. The distraction was never going to heal the distance. And tonight, in the middle of your scrolling, in the middle of your avoiding, in the middle of your pretending that you're fine, I reach through the static and I touch something deeper. I want to tell you something you've been waiting your whole life to hear. Something you've whispered to me in cars, in bathrooms, in beds where you couldn't sleep, in moments when you couldn't breathe. You've said it with tears. You've said it with silence. You've said it with the way you keep showing up, even when showing up costs you everything. You said, "Is this going to break me?" You said, "Did I miss it?" You said, "Am I too late?" And tonight, I am answering, not with a verse you've memorized, not with a sermon you've heard, not with religious words that bounce off the ceiling and never land in the wound. I am answering with the voice that spoke light into chaos. I am answering with the voice that held you before you took your first breath. I am answering with the voice that counted every tear before it fell and caught every one before it hit the floor. Listen closely now, because this is not random. This is not coincidence. This is not the algorithm feeding you what you usually watch. This is the moment heaven interrupted your night. This is the moment I pulled you aside, like a father pulling his child out of a crowded room, because I have something to say that cannot wait until morning. You are exhausted, not just tired, exhausted. The kind of exhausted that sleep doesn't fix. The kind of exhausted that comes from carrying something alone for too long. The kind of exhausted that comes from explaining yourself to people who were never going to understand. The kind of exhausted that comes from watching doors close, people leave, plans fail, and dreams fade, and having to smile through all of it like you're okay. You're not okay. I never asked you to be okay. I asked you to be honest. And your honesty tonight, your willingness to stop pretending even for a second, has opened something in the spiritual world. Something the enemy thought he had sealed shut. Something the enemy thought he had locked with shame and silence and fear. You don't see it yet, but I'm about to show you. You've been looking at closed doors and seeing rejection. I've been looking at closed doors and seeing protection. You've been looking at people walking away and thinking you failed. I've been looking at people walking away and thinking, finally, they're out of the way. You've been looking at delays and wondering what's wrong with you. I've been looking at delays and preparing what's coming for you. Oh, my beloved, if you could see what I see, if you could see the traps I close doors to avoid, if you could see the betrayals I prevented by removing certain people, if you could see the destruction I shielded you from when you cried because that door slammed shut, you would thank me for the no's. You would thank me for the silence. You would thank me for the waiting. But you can't see it yet because you're still in it. You're still in the fog. You're still in the confusion. You're still waking up at 3 a.m. wondering why your life looks nothing like you planned. You're still watching everyone else move forward while you feel stuck. You're still carrying the weight of words spoken against you. of accusations whispered behind your back, of friendships that turned into warfare, of love that turned into lessons. I saw every tear you cried in silence. I saw every time you held it together in public and fell apart in private. I saw every time you wanted to scream but stayed quiet. I saw every time you wanted to explain yourself but chose peace instead. I saw every time you handed me something and then took it back because letting go felt too dangerous. And I never left. Not once. Not in the moment you doubted me. Not in the moment you doubted yourself. Not in the moment you cursed the day you were born. Not in the moment you whispered, "I can't do this anymore." I was closer than you felt. I was working when you couldn't see. I was moving when everything felt still. You thought you were alone. You weren't. You thought I wasn't listening. I was. You thought I had forgotten you. I was writing your story with details you haven't even imagined yet. Because here's what you don't know, what you couldn't possibly know from where you're standing right now. The door that closed was saving you. The rejection that crushed you was positioning you. The loss that broke your heart was making room for something that won't leave. And the season you're in right now, the one that feels like waiting, like wandering, like wondering if you missed me completely, that season is about to shift. Not eventually, not someday, not in the distant future when you figured out all your problems. Soon, closer than you think. I am not the God who starts things and abandons them. I am not the God who gives visions and then forgets them. I am not the God who calls you chosen and then leaves you stranded in the middle of nowhere, wondering if you imagined the whole thing. I am the God who finishes what I start. I am the God who parts the water at the last possible second. I am the God who shows up after the fourth day, after the tomb is sealed, after hope has died, and I breathe life back into bones that thought they were done. You are not done. You are not behind. You are not the exception to my faithfulness. You are the one I have been preparing while you thought you were being passed over. You are the one I have been strengthening while you thought you were weakening. You are the one I have been positioning while you thought you were stuck. And tonight, right now, in this moment, I am pulling back the curtain just enough for you to see the first flicker of light. Don't rush past it. Don't scroll past it. Don't let your mind talk you out of what your spirit just felt. Something shifted while you were reading this. Something broke in the atmosphere. Something that had you bound just lost its grip. Do you feel it? That warmth in your chest? That pressure behind your eyes? That strange sense that you're not as alone as you thought you were 5 minutes ago? That's me. That's always been me. And I'm not finished yet. My beloved, you're still here. You didn't close this. You didn't scroll away. You didn't let the moment pass. And that means something. Something deeper than you understand right now. Because there is a war for your attention in this generation. And the fact that you stayed when you could have left, the fact that you're still reading when you could have escaped back into the noise, tells me something about your spirit that the enemy has been trying to hide from you. You are hungry for the truth. You are desperate for something real. And you are closer to your breakthrough than you have ever been. But before I show you what's coming, I need to show you what's been hidden. I need to talk to you about the betrayal. I need to talk to you about the people who smiled in your face while something else lived in their heart. I need to talk to you about the whispers you never heard but somehow felt. I need to talk to you about the nights you lay awake wondering why certain people suddenly went cold, why their energy shifted, why their words started cutting instead of comforting, why the friendship you thought was real turned into something you didn't recognize. You've carried that weight alone. You've replayed conversations in your head, trying to find the moment it all went wrong. You've wondered what you did, what you said, what you failed to do or say. You've blamed yourself for their distance, their silence, their sudden cruelty. You've walked through rooms feeling their eyes on you, feeling the shift in the atmosphere, feeling the coldness that replaced what used to be warmth. And nobody told you the truth. Nobody pulled you aside and said, "This isn't about you." Nobody defended you when the accusations started, when the narrative shifted, when the people who once celebrated you began to question you. Every whispered conversation you weren't invited to, every text thread where your name was spoken with poison, every moment they smiled at you in public and tore you down in private, every time they used your vulnerability against you, your honesty against you, your trust against you, every time they took what you shared in confidence and weaponized it in rooms you couldn't enter. I saw it. I heard it. I recorded every single word, and I didn't stop it. That's the part you don't understand yet. That's the part that's kept you awake. That's the part that made you wonder if I was really listening, if I was really watching, if I really cared about the injustice of it all. Because if I saw it, why didn't I stop it? If I heard the whispers, why didn't I silence them? If I knew they were coming for you, why didn't I protect you from the pain? Oh, my beloved, I did protect you. I protected you by letting them show you who they really were. I protected you by letting their hearts reveal what was always there beneath the surface. I protected you by allowing the mask to slip, the disguise to fall, the truth to emerge, so that you would never again trust what was never trustworthy. I protected you by letting them walk away before they could do the damage they would have done if they had stayed one more month, one more week, one more day. I protected you by closing the door while you were still crying about it, because I knew what was on the other side of that door if it stayed open. You thought they were your safe place. They were never safe. You thought they had your back. They were always waiting for an opportunity. You thought the connection was real. It was performance. And I let you see the cracks. I let you feel the distance. I let you sense that something was wrong. Not to torment you, not to make you paranoid, but to wake you up, to pull the veil back, to show you that your intuition wasn't broken, that your discernment wasn't malfunctioning, that the unease you felt was my spirit whispering to your spirit, something is off, something is wrong, something doesn't belong here. You kept giving chances. You kept explaining away their behavior. You kept making excuses for people who were already gone in their hearts. You kept bleeding for people who were already sharpening their knives. And I watched you do it. Watched you exhaust yourself trying to hold on to people I was trying to remove. And I ached for you. I ached because I knew what you didn't know. I ached because I could see the end from the beginning. I ached because I loved you too much to let you stay in a situation that was slowly destroying you. So I closed the door. Not because I was punishing you. Not because I was testing you. Not because I was teaching you some abstract lesson about forgiveness or endurance. I closed the door because I was protecting you. I closed the door because their presence in your life was blocking what I was trying to bring into your life. I closed the door because you couldn't see the trap, but I could. I closed the door because you couldn't hear the plotting, but I could. I closed the door because you were too busy loving them to see that they were never really loving you back, And now you sit in the aftermath, wounded and confused, wondering why it all fell apart. But I need you to hear me tonight with every fiber of your being. It didn't fall apart. It was dismantled. By me. For you. Those people who left, they were never yours to keep. Those friendships that ended, they were never going where you're going. Those relationships that collapsed, they would have held you back from what I'm about to do. You're mourning things that were actually rescuing you. You're grieving people who were actually obstacles. You're crying over doors that were actually cages disguised as safety. And I know it hurts. I know the loss is real, even if the relationship wasn't. I know the pain is valid, even if the people weren't. I'm not minimizing what you feel. I'm not telling you to just get over it. I'm telling you the truth that nobody else will tell you. The enemy wanted you to believe you were rejected, so you would never discover that you were actually rescued. Think about it, my beloved. Think about the timing of every departure. Think about the way each person left right before something significant was about to happen. Think about how their exit created space you didn't know you needed, silence you didn't know you craved, solitude you didn't know would save you. Think about how much worse it would have been if they had stayed. Think about what they would have witnessed. Think about what they would have sabotaged. Think about what they would have stolen if I hadn't removed them first. I was faster than their plans. I was quicker than their schemes. I saw the knife before they pulled it out, and I moved you out of reach before they could strike. You think you were blindsided. You think you were caught off guard. You think you were vulnerable and exposed. But I was standing between you and every enemy you never saw coming. I was the wall they couldn't break through. I was the fire that stopped them at the edge of your camp. I was the whisper that confused their timing, the fog that blurred their aim, the hand that closed the door right before they could walk through it. And now I need you to stop defending them in your head. I need you to stop making excuses for what they did. I need you to stop hoping they'll come back. Stop waiting for their apology. Stop checking for their presence. Stop wondering if you did something wrong. You didn't. You trusted. That's not wrong. You loved. That's not wrong. You gave the benefit of the doubt. That's not wrong. What was wrong was what lived in their heart. What was wrong was the envy they carried. What was wrong was the competition they felt. What was wrong was the way they compared themselves to you, resented you for what I was doing in your life, and eventually turned on you because they couldn't handle your growth. It was never about you. It was always about them. Because the same people who walked away, the same people who whispered behind your back, the same people who hoped you would fall, they are going to see you rise. They are going to see what I do next. They are going to watch from a distance as I open doors no one can shut, as I elevate you in ways they cannot explain, as I put you in rooms they cannot enter. And they're going to know that they were fighting against me, not against you. They're going to know that every word they spoke, every plan they made, every scheme they plotted, only positioned you for greater glory. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. I am your defense. I am your vindication. I am the one who sees every hidden thing and will bring every hidden thing into the light. And when I do, when I expose what was done in darkness, when I reveal the truth that was buried under lies, you won't have to say a word. Your silence will be your strength. Your peace will be your proof. Your elevation will be your testimony. So tonight, I want you to release them. All of them. Every person who hurt you. Every person who betrayed you. Every person who smiled while they plotted. Every person who took from you and gave nothing back. Every person who used your kindness for their comfort. Every person who drained you and called it friendship. Every person who walked away and made you feel like you were the problem. Release them into my hands. Stop carrying what I already judged. Stop holding what I already released. Stop nursing wounds that I already healed. Stop replaying conversations that I already closed. Stop asking for closure from people who never had the capacity to give it. I am your closure. I am your peace. I am your answer. I am your vindication. And I am not finished writing your story. The betrayal was real. The pain was real. The loneliness was real. But so is the restoration. So is the redemption. So is the moment coming when you look back at all of this and realize with absolute certainty that the door that closed was saving you from a destruction you never even saw coming. You're still breathing differently now, aren't you? Something shifted in the last few minutes. Something loosened. Something released. You didn't even realize how tightly you were holding on to those people until I told you it was okay to let them go. And now there's space. Empty, unfamiliar, almost uncomfortable space where their memory used to live. You don't know what to do with this space yet. You don't know how to fill it. You don't know if you're supposed to fill it at all. And that uncertainty, that pause, that moment of not knowing what comes next, that is exactly where I need you to be right now. Because before I show you what's coming, before I open the doors you've been begging me to open, I need you to understand the season you've been in. I need you to understand why it took so long. I need you to understand why the silence lasted as long as it did. I need you to understand why every prayer for change seemed to hit the ceiling and fall back down unanswered. I need you to understand the purpose of the delay. You've been calling it waiting. I've been calling it building. You've been calling it silence. I've been calling it strengthening. You've been calling it rejection. I've been calling it protection. You've been looking at the last season of your life and seeing nothing but wasted time, missed opportunities, doors that wouldn't open, prayers that wouldn't break through, people who wouldn't stay, breakthroughs that wouldn't come. You've been measuring that season by what didn't happen, by what didn't show up, by what didn't change. And I understand why. I understand because you're human, and humans measure time by movement, by progress, by visible results. But I'm not human, I'm eternal, and I measure time by preparation, by foundation, by the depth of roots that no one sees. You wanted the fruit. I was growing the roots. You wanted the platform. I was building the character. You wanted the visibility. I was protecting your vulnerability. You wanted the open door. I was closing every door that would have led to your destruction. You don't see it yet. You can't see it yet. But the delay was not denial. The waiting was not punishment. The silence was not abandonment. The isolation was not rejection. Every single moment of that season was strategic. Every single closed door was intentional. Every single person who disappeared was removed with purpose. Every single night you spent crying, wondering, questioning, begging for answers, I was there. Not just watching, not just observing. I was there building something in you that could only be built in the dark. Think about seeds for a moment, my beloved. Think about how they grow. A seed doesn't break open in the sunlight. It doesn't split apart on display. It doesn't send roots deep while everyone watches. The seed has to be buried. The seed has to be covered. The seed has to sit in the dark, in the pressure, in the isolation. And in that darkness, something happens that no one can see. The shell breaks. The root emerges. The life inside begins to stretch toward water it cannot see, toward nutrients it cannot perceive, toward a future it cannot imagine. And if you dug up that seed too soon, if you exposed it to light before its time, you would kill it. You would stop the growth. You would destroy the very thing you were hoping would bloom. I buried you on purpose. I covered you on purpose. I kept you in the dark on purpose. Not because I was angry. Not because I was punishing you. Not because I had forgotten you. But because what I'm growing in you cannot grow in shallow soil. What I'm building in you cannot be built on a surface level. What I'm forming in you requires pressure, requires waiting, requires the kind of alone time that forces you to stop looking to other people for what only I can give you. You wanted someone to save you. I wanted you to know that I am your Savior. You wanted someone to see you. I wanted you to know that I am the one who sees. You wanted someone to choose you. I wanted you to know that I chose you before the foundation of the world. You wanted someone to validate you. I wanted you to know that your validation comes from being my child. And I couldn't give you that while the noise was still so loud. I couldn't give you that while the distractions were still so many. I couldn't give you that while you were still running to people, running to platforms, running to validation, running to anything that would numb the ache instead of running to the only one who could actually fill it. So I cleared the room. I silenced the noise. I removed the voices. I closed the doors. I let the people leave. I let the plans fail. I let the money run low. I let the loneliness settle in. And you thought I was abandoning you. You thought I was punishing you. You thought I was proving that you weren't good enough, weren't faithful enough, weren't worthy enough for the things you were asking for. Oh, my beloved, if you could only see what I was actually doing. I was protecting you from platforms that would have destroyed you before your character could carry them. I was protecting you from relationships that would have drained the very purpose I placed inside you. I was protecting you from visibility that would have exposed wounds that weren't healed yet. I was protecting you from success that would have fed an ego that hadn't died yet. I was protecting you from people who would have used you, from opportunities that would have cost you, from doors that would have led you away from your destiny instead of toward it. You thought the closed doors were the enemy. The closed doors were the rescue. You thought the silence was rejection. The silence was preservation. You thought the waiting was wasted. The waiting was the most productive time of your life. Because in that waiting, in that silence, in that isolation, in that darkness, something happened that no one saw. Something happened that you couldn't even feel happening. But I felt it. I saw it. I orchestrated it. Every time you chose to get up anyway, every time you chose to trust anyway, every time you chose to keep going even when you couldn't see me, every time you chose kindness when cruelty would have been easier, every time you chose honesty when deception would have protected you, every time you chose to stay when everything in you wanted to run, every time you chose to worship when everything in you wanted to curse, every time you chose to believe when everything in you wanted to give up, you were building something. You were becoming something. You were being prepared for something that the version of you from 3 years ago could never have handled. And now, right now, in this moment, you are closer to the surface than you realize. The seed is about to break ground. The roots are deep enough. The shell is gone. The strength is there. The preparation is complete. The season is shifting. Not because you finally figured it all out. Not because you finally got your act together. Not because you finally became worthy. But because I am faithful. Because I finish what I start. Because I don't abandon the work of my hands. Because I have been with you in every moment of that darkness. And I am about to walk you into the light. You didn't waste that season. You survived it. You didn't fail in that season. You grew in it. You didn't miss me in that season. I was closer than ever, forming you in the secret place, building you in the hidden place, preparing you for a destiny that requires a depth that only pressure could produce. And here's what I need you to carry with you as you leave that season behind. You are not the same person who entered it. That person couldn't carry what I'm about to give you. That person couldn't handle the doors I'm about to open. That person would have collapsed under the weight of what's coming. But this person, the one sitting here right now, the one who stayed, the one who kept trusting even when it made no sense, the one who kept believing even when everything screamed to stop, this person is ready. Not perfect, ready. Not finished, ready. Not without fear, ready. Because readiness isn't about having no fear. Readiness is about having a trust that's bigger than your fear. Readiness is about knowing deep in your bones that even if it falls apart, even if it doesn't look like you expected, even if the road gets hard again, you won't be alone. I will be there. I have always been there. The door that closed was saving you. The waiting that hurt was growing you. The silence that broke you was strengthening you. And the season that almost destroyed you was actually the very thing that prepared you for everything that's about to come. My beloved, can you feel it? Something is different right now. Something shifted while you were reading. Something broke in the atmosphere while I was explaining the waiting. While I was uncovering the purpose of the pain. While I was showing you that the darkness was actually growth. You didn't even notice it happening, but it happened. The heaviness lifted just a little. The confusion cleared just a little. The hope that felt impossible an hour ago is flickering again. Faint, fragile, but flickering. And that flicker, that tiny flame that you're almost afraid to trust, that's not random either. That's the first sign of what's coming. That's the first light of a dawn you thought would never break. That's the first whisper of a shift that's already underway in the spiritual world. A shift that's about to become so visible, so undeniable, so public that you will look back at this moment, this exact moment, and say, that was the night everything began to change. I am about to present you. I am about to open doors that no human connection could have opened for you. I am about to bring you into rooms that your resume couldn't have earned, that your network couldn't have accessed, that your efforts couldn't have achieved. I am about to do what only I can do. Suddenly, unexpectedly, undeniably shift your position in ways that leave no room for doubt about who opened the door. You've been underestimated. I'm about to make you undeniable. You've been overlooked. I'm about to make you unavoidable. You've been dismissed. I'm about to make your voice necessary. You've been the last choice. I'm about to make you the only choice. You've been hidden. I'm about to bring you forward. You've been silent. I'm about to give you a message. You've been waiting. I'm about to move. And here's what you need to understand about this shift. It's not going to look like you expected. It's not going to feel like you imagined. It's not going to come through the doors you've been knocking on. It's going to come through doors you didn't even know existed. It's going to come through people you've never met. It's going to come through opportunities that feel too big, too sudden, too perfect to be real. And that's how you'll know it's me, because it won't make sense in natural terms. It won't fit the pattern of how things usually happen. It won't follow the timeline you would have planned. It will break every rule, shatter every expectation, bypass every obstacle, and suddenly, you'll be exactly where I always intended you to be. They thought you would never rise. The people who walked away, they thought you would never recover. The people who whispered behind your back, they thought you would never amount to anything. The people who closed the door in your face, they thought you would never find another way in. The people who compared you to others, they thought you would always be behind. The people who wrote you off, they thought your story was over. But I am the God who raises the dead. I am the God who opens the womb that was barren. I am the God who parts the water when there's no way through. I am the God who takes the stone the builders rejected and makes it the cornerstone. And I am about to take you who were rejected, you who were dismissed, you who were overlooked, you who were underestimated, and I am about to make you the very thing they cannot ignore. Not because you fought for position, not because you clawed your way back, not because you proved them wrong with your own strength, but because I am your vindicator, because I see what they couldn't see, because I've been preparing you in secret for a public manifestation that will leave no question about whose hand is on your life. You're about to be brought forward, my beloved, and when I bring you forward, no one will be able to push you back. When I open a door for you, no one will be able to shut it. When I promote you, no one will be able to demote you. When I lift you up, no one will be able to tear you down. Because it won't be about connections anymore, it will be about calling. It won't be about networking anymore, it will be about destiny. It won't be about who you know anymore, it will be about who knows you, who formed you, who called you, who anointed you before you ever took your first breath. I am about to give you a testimony that makes people pause. I am about to give you a story that makes people pay attention. I am about to give you a platform that you didn't build with your own hands, influence that you didn't manufacture with your own efforts, favor that you didn't earn with your own striving. And when it happens, when the door swings open, when the opportunity appears, when the call comes, when the invitation arrives, when the position is offered, when the platform is given, you're going to know deep in your bones that this was me. You're going to feel it in a way that leaves no room for pride, because you'll know you didn't earn it. You're going to feel it in a way that leaves no room for fear, because you'll know you didn't manufacture it. You're going to feel it in a way that leaves no room for doubt, because you'll know that only I could have opened this door. And here's what I need you to do between now and then. Don't force it. Don't push. Don't manipulate. Don't strategize your way into rooms I haven't opened. Don't try to make it happen in your timing. Don't panic when it's quiet. Don't panic when it's still. Don't panic when nothing seems to be moving, because the shift is coming. The shift is closer than you think. The shift is already in motion, but if you try to help me, you'll get in the way. If you try to speed it up, you'll slow it down. If you try to open doors I haven't opened yet, you'll end up in rooms you were never meant to enter. Stay still, stay quiet, stay faithful, stay in position, stay ready but not rushing, stay expectant but not frantic, because I am working. I am always working. I am working in rooms you cannot see, moving hearts you cannot reach, arranging circumstances you cannot influence, aligning connections you cannot make. And when the timing is perfect, when every piece is in place, when every heart is ready, when every door is unlocked, I will move, and you will walk through, not because you forced it, but because I prepared it. Not because you earned it, but because I purposed it. Not because you were the most qualified, but because you were the most yielded. They thought you would never rise. They thought the closed doors were the end. They thought the silence was permanent. They thought the rejection was final. They thought you would fade into the background, become irrelevant, become forgotten, become just another person who almost made it, but didn't. But I am about to show them in a way that leaves no room for argument, that I was with you all along. I am about to show them that every closed door was set up for an open heaven. I am about to show them that every rejection was redirection. I am about to show them that every betrayal was preparation. I am about to show them that the very things they used against you, the very things they hoped would destroy you, the very things they thought would end you, those are the very things I am about to use to launch you. Get ready, my beloved. Get ready for the phone call you stopped expecting. Get ready for the invitation you stopped hoping for. Get ready for the door you stopped knocking on. Get ready for the favor you stopped believing you deserved. Get ready for the shift you stopped allowing yourself to imagine, because it's closer than you think. It's closer than it feels. It's closer than the enemy wants you to believe. And when it happens, when it finally, suddenly, unexpectedly happens, you will know with every fiber of your being that the door that closed was saving you for this exact moment. My beloved, you're almost there now. You can feel it, can't you? Not just in your mind, not just in your hope, but in your body, in your chest, in the way you're breathing differently than you were when this began. Something is settling, something is calming, something that has been clenched for years is starting to loosen. And that loosening, that unclenching, that release, that's not just emotional relief. That's spiritual permission. That's me giving you permission to stop surviving and start living. That's me giving you permission to stop holding your breath and start breathing deeply. That's me giving you permission to stop waiting for the other shoe to drop and start expecting the blessing to land. Because the shift I told you about in the last part, the sudden opportunity, the unexpected door, the public acknowledgement, the narrative reversal, that shift is not just about position. It's not just about platform. It's not just about purpose. It's about restoration. It's about peace. It's about finally, after all these years, being able to rest in who you are without wondering when it's all going to fall apart again. And that's what I want to talk to you about now. Not just the doors that are about to open, but what happens after you walk through them. Not just the elevation, but what it feels like to finally be home in your own skin. Not just the breakthrough, but the peace that comes after the breakthrough. The kind of peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, because it's rooted in something deeper than circumstances. You've been running on empty for so long. You've been surviving on fumes for so long. You've been giving from a dry well for so long. And you didn't even realize how depleted you were, because depletion became your normal. Exhaustion became your baseline. Stress became your companion. Anxiety became your constant. You forgot what it felt like to wake up without a knot in your stomach. You forgot what it felt like to fall asleep without replaying every failure. You forgot what it felt like to be still without feeling guilty. You forgot what it felt like to be enough without performing for it. But I haven't forgotten. I remember what I designed for you. I remember the peace I placed in your spirit before the world taught you to be afraid. I remember the rest I built into your rhythm before stress became your default. I remember the joy I planted in your heart before loss taught you to guard it. And I am about to restore all of it. Not just some of it, not just part of it, not just enough to get by, but all of it. Abundantly, excessively, overflowingly. I am about to restore the years the locusts ate. I am about to restore the peace that was stolen by betrayal. I am about to restore the confidence that was shattered by rejection. I am about to restore the joy that was drained by waiting. I am about to restore the hope that was crushed by disappointment. I am about to restore your ability to trust, not naively, not foolishly, but securely, deeply, peacefully, because you will finally know beyond any doubt that your security is in me and not in people. The restoration I'm bringing isn't just external, it's internal first. It starts in the places no one sees. It starts in the thoughts you have when you're alone. It starts in the way you talk to yourself when no one's listening. It starts in the beliefs you hold about who you are, what you deserve, what's possible for your future. I am healing your relationship with yourself. I am teaching you to be kind to you. I am teaching you to be patient with you. I am teaching you to believe in you the way I've always believed in you. Because you cannot carry what I'm about to give you if you're still at war with yourself. You cannot steward the doors I'm about to open if you're still holding on to the identity the enemy built for you. So I am rebuilding your identity from the inside out. I am removing the shame that's been clinging to you since childhood. I am healing the wounds that made you feel unworthy of love. I am closing the gaps where rejection leaked in and made its home. I am filling the empty spaces that you've been trying to fill with achievement, with approval, with attention, with anything that would numb the ache of not feeling enough. And when I'm done, when the internal work is complete, when the healing has taken root, when the peace has settled deep, you will walk into your external restoration with a stability that nothing can shake. You will receive the blessings without being possessed by them. You will handle the visibility without losing yourself in it. You will carry the influence without being corrupted by it. You will enjoy the abundance without being controlled by it. Because the work I'm doing in you now, in this quiet moment, in this sacred space, is making you safe to bless. You've seen it happen to others. You've watched people get blessed and fall apart. You've watched people get promoted and become unbearable. You've watched people get visibility and lose their humanity. You've watched people get abundance and forget where it came from. And you've wondered in quiet moments if the same would happen to you. You've wondered if you're strong enough to handle success. You've wondered if you're grounded enough to carry influence. You've wondered if you're mature enough to steward abundance. And I'm telling you now, that's why it took so long. That's why the waiting lasted as long as it did. That's why the closed doors stayed closed. I was making you safe to bless. I was building the character that could carry the calling. I was developing the humility that could handle the visibility. I was deepening the roots that could support the fruit. I was doing the internal work that would allow you to receive the external without being destroyed by it. And now you're ready. Not perfect, but ready. Not finished, but ready. Not without fear, but ready. Because readiness isn't about having all your issues resolved. Readiness is about having a foundation strong enough to hold the weight of the blessing without collapsing. Readiness is about having an identity secure enough to receive the promotion without losing yourself. Readiness is about having a heart healed enough to enjoy the abundance without being controlled by it. And you have all of that now, not because you earned it, but because I built it. Not because you achieved it, but because I grew it in the dark while no one was watching. So, here's what's coming. Peace that doesn't make sense. Calm that doesn't match your circumstances. Rest that feels almost uncomfortable because you're so used to striving. Financial stability that doesn't keep you up at night. Emotional stability that doesn't crash with every disappointment. Relational stability that doesn't leave you waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're about to experience a kind of wholeness you've never known. Not because your life will be perfect, but because your heart will finally be home. You will finally be at home in yourself. You will finally be at home in your life. You will finally be at home in your own skin. And from that place of home, from that place of rest, from that place of peace, you will begin to move in ways you never could when you were moving from survival mode. You'll create from rest instead of from desperation. You'll give from overflow instead of from emptiness. You'll love from wholeness instead of from need. You'll lead from security instead of from insecurity. You'll live from peace instead of from performance, and the people around you will feel it. They'll feel the difference. They feel the weight lift when you enter a room. They'll feel the calm settle when you speak. They'll feel the safety that comes from being with someone who is finally safe with themselves. Your presence will become a gift because your healing will have become complete enough to overflow onto others. This is the restoration I promised. This is the peace I've been preparing. This is the stability that was always your destiny. Not a life without challenges. That's not real, and I don't promise fake. But a life where challenges don't control you anymore. A life where setbacks don't define you anymore. A life where losses don't destroy you anymore. A life where you walk through difficulty with a calm that confuses the enemy and a peace that testifies to everyone watching that I am with you, I am for you, and I will never leave you. You are about to become the person you always wanted to be, not the person the world told you to be, not the person your wounds shaped you to be, not the person your fears limited you to be, but the person I saw when I formed you in the secret place, the person I called before you knew my voice, the person I'd been preparing through every closed door, every lonely night, every silent season, every moment of waiting that felt like wasted time. That person is emerging now. That person is rising now. That person is about to step into a life so full, so peaceful, so abundant that you'll look back at the pain and finally understand. It was all preparation. Every closed door was saving you for this open heaven. Every rejection was redirecting you toward this acceptance. Every loss was making room for this gain. Every tear was watering this harvest. And now the harvest is ready. Now the peace is here. Now the restoration is beginning. Now you get to live the life the closed doors were protecting you for. Here we are, the end of this moment, but the beginning of everything else. You made it through every part, every revelation, every layer of truth that I needed you to hear. You didn't close this. You didn't scroll past. You didn't let distraction win. You stayed when staying was hard, when staying meant facing things you've been avoiding, when staying meant letting me into places you've kept locked for years. And that staying, that stubborn, faithful, exhausted staying, has changed something. Not just in the spiritual atmosphere around you, but in you, deep in you. In the places only I can see, and only I can reach. You are not the same person who started reading this. You may feel the same. You may look the same. You may still be sitting in the same room with the same problems and the same questions and the same uncertainties. But something has shifted in your spirit. Something has aligned in your soul. Something has unlocked in your destiny. And you will feel it in the coming days, in the way you respond to things that used to crush you, in the way you sleep through nights that used to keep you awake, in the way you look at closed doors without the usual panic, in the way you face rejection without the usual collapse. You will feel the shift because the shift is real. The shift is here. The shift is you finally beginning to believe what I've been saying about you all along. I want to give you something before we end this. I want to give you a final confirmation, not just words, but a knowing. A deep, unshakable knowing that what I've spoken over you in these moments is true, is real, is already working, and will not return void. I want you to leave this not with a feeling, but with a foundation. Not with an emotion, but with an anchor. Not with temporary inspiration, but with permanent installation into the truth of who you are and what is coming for you. So listen closely now. Listen with your spirit more than your ears. Listen with the part of you that knew, before you ever clicked on this, that something was about to happen. Listen with the part of you that has always known my voice, even when you doubted, even when you wandered, even when you wondered if I was real or if you'd made the whole thing up in your loneliness. I am real. I am here. I am yours, and you are mine. Not because you earned it. Not because you deserve it. Not because you finally got your life together. But because I chose you before you chose me. Because I called you before you knew my name. Because I set you apart before you ever set foot on this earth. Because you are not an accident, not a coincidence, not a random collection of cells with no purpose and no destiny. You are a designed, deliberate, deeply loved child of the living God. And everything that has happened in your life has been working together to bring you to this exact moment. The pain was not pointless. The waiting was not wasted. The closed doors were not punishment. The rejection was not final. The loneliness was not permanent. The silence was not abandonment. It was all preparation. It was all positioning. It was all protection. It was all leading you here to this moment of release, this moment of alignment, this moment of breakthrough. And now that you're here, now that you've received what I needed you to receive, now that you've let me in where you've kept me out, now that you've believed what you've struggled to believe, now it's time to walk forward. Not perfectly, not without fear, not with all the answers, but with a trust that's deeper than your fear, with a knowing that's stronger than your doubt, with a peace that doesn't depend on your circumstances, with a faith that doesn't need to see the whole path before taking the first step. I will be with you. I have always been with you. Not in the moments of success when you're tempted to think you did it on your own. Not in the moments of failure when you're tempted to think you've ruined everything. Not in the moments of confusion when you can't see the next step. Not in the moments of loneliness when no one seems to understand. Not in the moments of waiting when it feels like nothing is happening. Not in the moments of breakthrough when it all feels too good to be true. I will be there. In every closed door and every open window. In every rejection and every invitation. In every loss and every restoration. In every tear and every triumph. I will be there. In every closed door and every open window. In every rejection and every invitation. in every loss and every restoration, in every tear and every triumph. I will be there, because you are mine, and I don't lose what belongs to me. I don't abandon what I've purchased. I don't forget what I've called. I don't neglect what I've chosen. You are chosen. You are called. You are mine. And nothing can change that. So here's what I want you to do now. I want you to close this. Not because you're done with me, but because you're ready to live what you've received. I want you to stand up, wherever you are, and take a breath. A deep one. The kind of breath that fills your lungs all the way. The kind of breath you haven't taken in years because you've been bracing for impact, waiting for disaster, preparing for the next blow. I want you to breathe deeply and know that the bracing can stop. The waiting for disaster can end. The preparation for the next blow is over. You are safe. You are held. You are protected. Not from all difficulty, but from all destruction. Not from all struggle, but from all defeat. Not from all pain, but from all separation from me. You are safe in my hand, and no one can pluck you out. The door that closed was saving you. The rejection that crushed was redirecting you. The waiting that broke was building you. And now, the doors that are about to open, they will lead you exactly where you're meant to go. Not because you're perfect, not because you finally figured it out, but because I am faithful, because I finish what I start, because I am the author of your story, and I don't write unfinished endings. Your story is not over. Your best chapters are ahead. Your greatest days are coming. And I, the one who spoke stars into existence, the one who parted seas, the one who raised the dead, the one who never loses, I am with you. Every step, every breath, every door, every delay, every victory, every lesson, I am with you. Now go. Go in peace. Go in power. Go in the unshakable confidence that you are loved, you are chosen, you are protected, and you are about to see what I've been doing all along. The door that closed was saving you, and the door that's opening, it's going to change everything. I love you, my beloved, more than you know, more than you'll ever fully understand. But you'll spend the rest of your life discovering it. In every open door, in every unexpected blessing, in every moment of peace that doesn't make sense, in every sunrise that feels like a promise, in every breath that reminds you you're still here, you're still mine, and you're just getting started. Now go live the life the closed doors were protecting you for. I'll be right here, always.